Our essential question is 2-1 by
Jojo.
and Emma. So our topic is assess the validity of this statement. Reconstruction 1865 to 1877 represented the America's failed opportunity to erase racism and racial hierarchy. Because of our nation's economic, social, political failures during this time period, we had to wait another 100 years to address racial hierarchy in America.
Our thesis states that the Reconstruction period of the late 1800s failed to address the racial hierarchy issue in America due to 1. Economic failures between the South and North imbalance, 2. Social failures with the freedom of blacks, and 3. Political failures between presidents and Congress.
So our economic thesis is the Reconstruction period of the late 1800s failed to address the racial hierarchy issue in America because of the economic failures between South and North imbalance.
The three main points in this economic slide are the farming environment, tension between South and North, and labor supply. For farming environment, sharecropping and tenant farming kept black citizens in deficit farming, and because the South was subservient to the North in the cotton industry, white owners could abuse this power over Southern blacks. Tension between South and North included the derogatory nicknames carpetbaggers and scalawags, and for labor supply, blacks continued to work in rigged contracts which continued poverty in their lifestyles. For social, our topic sentence states that the Reconstruction period of the late 1800s failed to address the racial hierarchy issue in America due to social failures with the freedom of blacks.
So our three main points for social are the Black Codes, voter intimidation, and the KKK. So the Black Codes were first made and sanctioned by President of the United States, Johnson, and the Black Codes mocked the idea of freedom for blacks and continued to have the blacks live in this oppressive lifestyle and ensured the continued labor force. The voter intimidation. So the Republican goal was to have blacks in the South vote so that the South could rejoin the Union. However, Southerners did not want the blacks to vote, and this was also countered by the Union League, who were pro-black voting supporters. The grandfather clause also stated that you could only vote if your grandfather voted. However, this greatly affected the blacks because many of their grandfathers had been slaves. No. And lastly, the KKK were a group of Southerners who hated the black success in legislation, and so they performed acts of lynching and mob violence. Congress tried to stop this with the Force Act of 1870 and 1871. However, these came too late and were a failure.
So our political topic sentence states that the Reconstruction period of the late 1800s failed to address the racial hierarchy issue in America due to political failures between presidents and Congress.
So our three topics for political are the Civil Rights Bill, the 14th Amendment, and the Wade-Davis Bill. So the Civil Rights Bill was made, and it granted American citizenship to blacks, and it was tried to strike at the Black Codes. And this was passed when Congress had to overrule the president veto. Because Congress feared that the states would reject the Civil Rights Bill, they also created the 14th Amendment, which also offered civil rights and citizenship to blacks. They did not allow Confederate officers in government, and they took up the federal debt. However, these were controversial, and the South hated this bill and amendment. Lastly, the Wade-Davis Bill was created to build upon the Reconstruction bill. And so, however, this showed the differences among the Republicans when President Lincoln did not support this, and it showed the two different factions where one side wanted the Union to reunite as soon as possible, and the other side where they wanted to punish the South before the Union was reunited.
In conclusion, even though there were many bills trying to work for the political equality with black citizens, the ingrained white supremacy inside the South still affected their lives and kept them in poverty and in oppressed conditions.
Thank you.